Look at that.
He does a rap in the Wigan charity song that's been released for the cup final. That's
Is it up there with like John Barnes and the Anfield rap?
Better than Barnes.
Do you reckon it's better than Barnes?
Better than Barnes, of course it is.
Barnes has got fat bars, mate.
Manu Vatavai for the Red Devils with 100 metres, Olsi Krasnicki 105, and Ryan Lannon 40 tackles.
There you go. Okay, so what does that mean for the standings then at the top of the tables?
Castleford are now the official League Leaders' Shield winners. The 6th winner in 6 years for that trophy, although the 7th winner overall since Bradford were the first team to get the trophy in 2003.
Trendsetter.
9 points then separate the rest of the Super 8 sides. Leeds are second on 34, Hull third on 31, Wakefield still fourth, 28. St Helens are 5th on 27, but Wigan are also on 27, only behind Saints now on points difference, even though they've improved that mark massively on Friday night. Salford is 7th on 26, Huddersfield 8th on 25, all still to play for.
Tight as an un's chuff in that race for 4th place. Okay, that's the Super 8 taken care of. Let's take a look back now at round 3 of the qualifiers. Right, so to round 3 of the qualifiers. First game of the weekend on Saturday afternoon saw Warrington defeat the Halifax Blue Sox by 22 points to 8, and in front of 8,353, refereed quite poorly, according to Tony Smith, by Robert Hicks.
Wire Joe said, as the best on paper and highest placed by God knows how team going into these qualifiers, we were always going to have a target on our backs, and after that performance you can imagine that it's got a lot fucking bigger. Facts were hungrier for the win than us, and it was probably only their fitness and discipline that let them down in the end. Play like that against London and things might look quite so pretty for us.
So they're not happy, the Wire fans, with
well,
that performance, and everything I've seen and heard about this one leads me to believe that rightly so, really.
Yeah, they were shoddy.
The big highlight I saw of this was Tom Lynham falling off. It wasn't Heaton's try, quite remarkably.
No, Heaton
neglecting to score for Halifax this week.
Heaton missed the game for injury, Tom. That's why he neglected to score.
It's a temerity of the boy. But Tom Lynham, that just sums up Warrington's season, really, doesn't it? In some respects, that little portion of play where he just decided to slide off the tackle and let your man in.
Indeed, it was Chester Butler.
Chester Butler
was the double try scoring right winger this time
there
for the Halifax. Whoever you play out there,
right side is very much a golden edge, isn't it?
It's the golden edge. No matter who you put in there, because even Woodburn Hall at centre went off early doors injured, so they slipped the second row lad out there, and he had a cracking game in the centres. I'd never heard of him before this game, so I'll have to.
Okay.
Ed Barber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed Barber. Fair enough. Do you think Tony Smith's comments on the performance of Robert Hicks were in any way justified, or do you think he's just deflecting from a poor team performance and trying to draw attention to himself?
I'd lean towards that, but only because I didn't see anything jump out as being particularly controversial from the referee. But I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't looking for problems. Yeah, there'll have been decisions that were necessarily clear-cut one way or another. But I don't think that I did anything too shocking, if I'm completely honest. Ryan Atkins obviously claimed a try. That was a little bit, maybe, it took a while to clear up, but in my view, not only did he tackle the player, not giving him an opportunity to recover his position, but he also touched the end of his fingertips before picking it up off the floor, so he'll have known that it touched his hand, I would imagine, but he still celebrated. But maybe that was one of the decisions that he felt wasn't done right by the referee at the time, without the opportunity to watch it back before he made his comments in his press conference. Tom,
there you go. Okay,
maybe he should watch the footage back and come out and apologise if he feels he was wrong.
Possibly.
I don't know.
See what he does. But Peter Hicker's strong start to his Warrington career continues for him. And a collector's item in a try for Chris Hill. Yeah,
and Matty Russell outside of him, to be honest. He scored the try that kind of sealed things off, really. Savelli over late try, but I felt like there was no coming back in that last 15 minutes or so when Matty Russell scored. And actually, it was a really decent finish by Matty Russell. You credit him for it. It wasn't quite the try. It wasn't quite the mesmeric, unbelievable finish of his Scotland game at Coventry last year.
Yeah.
But it was still a great finish.
I vaguely remember that afternoon.
Well, you were probably. I think you went to the bar when the try was sent up and came back, and they still hadn't made the video ref decision.
Fabulous. I think was that because you'd knocked a pint over and I'd been sent back to buy another one.
You knocked a pint over. I knocked my face over.
You knocked yourself over, didn't you? That was a good afternoon. Okay, stats then, individually, who stood out for us?
Well, you mentioned Chris Hill's try. 152 metres and four successful offloads as well for the wire captain. He really did bust a gut in this one. Peter Hiku flying in the qualifiers. Try, 8 tackle bus, 179 metres. This isn't his level. He needs to be playing at Super League. Matty Russell, a try, 145 metres, 2 clean breaks.
Yeah, he's going to be playing at Super League next year, though. And Warrington are definitely going to be in the top flight. Who stood out for Halifax?
Well, Chester Butler on the wing, we've already mentioned. 2 tries, 117 metres, 4 clean breaks, and a phenomenal name. James Saltonstall stood out because he had a really shit hairdo. And he played pretty well too. A try assist and 108 metres. I think he popped up all over the place and didn't make too many errors defensively either in that fullback position, which isn't his usual position. Ben Kay, 43 tackles, 10 mark tackles, no missed tackles for the sort of undersized hooker there. Did really well. Well done to him.
Fair play. Okay, later that afternoon then, the Catalan Dragons went down 6 points to 30. Called it against Lee Centurions in front of 6,632. Refereed by Phil Benthammark.
Yes, and Alan Walker says, shit opposition, we were shitter, top 3 looks very improbable, need snookers, €1 million game, looks the only chance, lose that and it's back to Elite 1, still there's some lovely venues to go to, that's how the new restructure goes.
Need snookers, fair play. Carl Matios says, Stupa coach Karma, ex-Bulls coach does his friends a favour. Which friends are they?
Don't know.
We didn't have many friends, I want to thought, and Steve McNamara. Anyway, carry on.
Tyler Caspan said, great result for Lee. They needed that after last week. Catalans bring nothing to say.
I fucking hate them,
and the sooner they swap places with Hull KR, the better.
There you go. I can't remember why he hates them. Why does he hate them?
Because he's xenophobic.
I don't think that's what it is. He's a bright lad. Yeah. I can't. He's staunch and he's
the way. I suppose the way they played over the last year and a half or so has not been particularly exciting, has it?
Oh,
and it's been a little bit niggly and nasty and bringing teams down a level rather than playing up.
He does fair rate him there, doesn't he? Final one on this one goes to Sarah McKenzie. Didn't watch all of this, but Lee were definitely good value for the win. Keeps things interesting in the middle eights. I think a complete overhaul is needed in France. They're in trouble now, Catalan, for me. That's a home game gone that they'll have circled on in the plans as a win. They're going to struggle.
I've said before, Catalan sort of have 2 opportunities. It's win the 4 home games or win the 4 games against the Championship sides. Now they're not going to win the 4 home games, but they've got Halifax and Featherstone coming up now.
I don't fully trust them to go away to a Championship side and get a result though.
No, and because you've got to say what's going on. They're not playing well at all.
No.
Lee were not a side who played well enough in this game, in my opinion,
to win by 24 points.
To win by 24 points.
No.
Other than Catalan, were really, really abject. I mean, to their defence, losing Paul Aiton very, very early on did them absolutely no favours. They had no plan outside of that. It took them ages to figure out and even some sort of idea that I'd get them some consistent dummy half play and someone who actually had half a brain about how to get around a rugby field. Because as much as I like Ben Garcia for the things he does well, thinking on the go about setting up plays and putting the team in the right position in the field is not his strong point and never will be.
No. I think there's a lot
They're
going
struggling.
on there.
Once you lose that hooker, you then, in the second half, they played around with Myler jumping into dummy half. They looked a little bit more effective in making ground, because I think the speed of the play was a lot sharper, cleverer, and well directed. However, they have no ball players then, because Walsh can't do it all on his own, and Lewis Tierney is a scooter, not a ball player nowadays. So I think there's just so much to think about and sort out. It's like, let's just see what Kristen Inu can do. Can he bust a tackle and then get a great offload away? Well, even if he does, Vincent de Paul's not exactly a flyer outside him. No. There was just so much not right about that side. Lee were good. Don't get me wrong, they had a few really good performances. Mortimer's really doing good in there, and he was in the hooking role in this game, and I think he helped a little bit there. But what I liked is that Drinkwater and Reynolds combination being back together, because I think that was least. I think it's so unfortunate that Reynolds found himself out the side, to be honest, because he's been their best halfback all year. So moving Mortimer into a hooking role helped with that, but it meant that their play was a bit more varied. They had so many kicking options. They were able to sort of make Catalan trudge around and not really get the confidence up at all because of just constantly turning them around, giving them no chances to make breaks early in tackle sets and stuff like that. So it didn't matter that, they've got the two worst wings in Super League.
There you go. It's two very vital points for the Leeds Centurions then. What did the stats tell us individually who stood out?
Corey Patterson, 2 tries, 214 metres, 2 clean breaks. Of course, his ridiculous length of the field intercept right at the end when he fell down to the turf like Laura Muir at the end of a 10,000 metre, 5,000 metres. Sorry,
he was gassed then, wasn't he?
Samisoni Langi with a try, assist, and 106 metres. Adam Hickson just sliced off the wingers. He scored 2 tries. Brendan Williami for Catalan was probably their best player with a try and 115 metres. He maybe deserves a bit better. Maybe if he'd have been fit for longer, they'd have had a bit more of a vibrant attack this year. Lewis Tierney worked really hard, 120 metres. It's just this little end product, sadly.
There you go. Okay, over to Hull KR then on Sunday afternoon. 35 points to 30 winners they were over the London Broncos in front of 7,245, refereed by Chris Campbell.
Yeah, where's he been?
Busy.
Because he hasn't done a major game.
He's been away for a while, hasn't he?
June, May?
Has he not done 2 this weekend?
No.
That's Chris Campbell.
Ian Gatwood said, too much, too little, too late. Knew that the draw versus Fev would hurt us, and now we need to beat 3 Super League sides and a Championship side. Not impossible by any stretch of imagination, but just feel the bubble has finally burst, and now we look to build towards 2018.
And Paul Campbell says, video refs need to be at all these games. 2 weeks running now, we've had tries chalked off. Saying that though, we deserve a win in the first half. I very much doubt it. After the first half, I very much doubt it. Yeah, they were shot to pieces in the first half. It was 25 points to 8 in favour of KR, and the Broncos came out in the second half and made a real fist of it. It was 5 tries apiece, wasn't it? So the difference was the goal kicking of Mr. Ellis over for all KR, and then that drop goal from Atkin.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I've not really followed much of this game. If I'm completely honest, I'm trying to. I spent the afternoon watching the Wigan 19s, you see.
I see.
I'm just trying to find out where this try ruled out. Jay Pitts, maybe, but he doesn't in the write-up here. He didn't go into any detail, unfortunately. Say about that. So maybe they had a few unlucky breaks, London, but they caused all their own problems. I would suggest by that half-time scoreline, just you can't get yourself that far behind with a side with quality players like Atkin and Ellis who are going to create enough, I think, to beat you. I
agree. And it is a shame for London because that draw, like we spoke about last week, that's a point lost, it's not a point gained for them, and it's as good as a defeat in the way that this shortened competition is going to play out for them.
And it just means that moral victory over Catalan looks even more a wasted opportunity as well, doesn't it?
Well, that's
they could be sat here on 4 points.
You could make it a positive.
This wouldn't matter.
Yeah, they could be sat there on 4 points. They could be sat feasibly. They could be sat there on 6 points, Mark. They've been close. Do you know what I mean? They've not. They've lost by less than 2 scores in the 2 games that they've lost.
I mean the last minute try adds out the scoreline a
little. As well, exactly.
No, but the last minute try here in this game, Elliot Keir scores right in the sort of on the hooter
in garbage time. Maybe, but they're still there or thereabouts against the bigger sides. They've just not had that look of the green. So that's why the Featherstone game is so important to them in terms of the narrative for their season. And I think it does mean that they're probably going to be in the Championship next year. Unfortunately, for London, who stood out individually for us?
Well, we have Ryan Shaw, 2 tries, 121 metres, Lee Jewett, 152 metres, and George Lawler, who must have, I think he started at hooker, but must have spent a lot of the game as a running forward, because he totted up 10 mark tackles, 127 metres, and not a lot of them were from dummy half runs.
There you go.
Alex Walker, the fullback, a try, 186 metres for him, so great performance there. Mark Ione, a try and 126 metres. Kieran Dixon, 160 metres and 2 clean breaks.